When I helped my friend get promoted, she giggled at happy hour and said loudly, "She thinks we're a team, I just use her to clean up my mistakes." I pretended to laugh along. Then I forwarded every email showing her negligence to leadership, and watched as she went from rising star to unemployed in less than a month. Let me be clear, I'm not some revenge-obsessed person. I don't go looking for ways to take people down. But when someone uses you, lies to your face, and laughs behind your back like you're nothing, it changes how you see things. It changed me. I work in Charlotte, North Carolina, at a financial services company. I won't say the name, but it's the kind of place where people wear cardigans on casual Fridays and argue over spreadsheets like they're life or death. It's not glamorous, but it pays the bills. I've been there over 4 years. Steady. Reliable. I'm the person who remembers deadlines, fixes broken files, and keeps clients calm. I've never been flashy. I just do my job. That's why, when Tessa started, they paired her with me. She was new. Fresh out of a smaller firm in Raleigh. Smart, sure. Talked fast. Always wore heels too high and asked way too many questions. At first, I thought she was just trying to keep up. She asked me everything: what should I say to this client, or, can you look at this before I send it? And I always helped. That's what I do. I cover people. I didn't think twice. She started copying me on emails. Not because she wanted my opinion, I learned later she just wanted someone to spot her mistakes before higher-ups did. If I missed one, she'd ask me why I didn't catch it. If I caught it, she'd thank me like I was her secretary. I told myself she didn't mean it that way. I gave her the benefit of the doubt. I always do. Over time, she started getting noticed. Ray, our manager, loved her confidence. She was bubbly in meetings, always had something to say. Sometimes it was wrong, but no one noticed because I'd quietly fix the numbers after. She got invited to speak on calls I prepped. She'd go on and on about strategies I came up with. And I let it happen. Because I thought we were a team. That's the part that still gets me. She would say things like, "We make a great team," or "I couldn't do this without you." I believed her. I didn't care about the spotlight. I cared about respect. Then the promotion window opened. Ray said 2 people would be promoted to senior associate. I'd been waiting for that title for 2 years. My metrics were solid. My reviews were strong. Clients liked me. I figured I was finally due. Tessa applied too. She had been there less than a year. I remember her asking me to review her application. I fixed her grammar. I helped her frame her experience. I even reminded her to include one of the decks I built under her name. She said, "You're the best," and hugged me. We both got promoted. She cried happy tears in the break room and told everyone how proud she was. I smiled. I thought maybe I was wrong about her. Maybe she really did see me as her teammate. Then came the happy hour. Just a few of us went out. Joel from marketing, Nina from compliance, and a couple guys from our floor. We sat outside at a bar in South End. String lights overhead, too many cocktails, everyone laughing. I was sitting just down the table from her when it happened. Joel said something I didn't catch, and she laughed, that loud, fake laugh she always did, and said, "She thinks we're a team, I just use her to clean up my mistakes." Then she laughed harder. Joel laughed too. They didn't even notice me. I was right there. A few seats away. I turned to grab my drink. My hand shook. I forced a chuckle. Fake. Quiet. They didn't even look my way. It was like I wasn't real. I didn't finish my drink. I went home early. I didn't sleep much that night. I kept hearing her voice. She thinks we're a team. I sat in the dark with my laptop. At first I opened Netflix. Then Outlook. I searched her name. The emails were all there. Her sending out the wrong performance numbers. Her forgetting to blind copy clients. Her asking me to rewrite her client-ready decks. Her skipping QA steps because you'll catch anything, right? I had everything. Every time she leaned on me. Every time I made her look competent. So I made a folder. I called it Tessa, Coverage Evidence. I didn't stop there. I went through old Teams chats. Saved messages where she said things like, "Can you clean this up before Ray sees?" or "You're my secret weapon." I built a 48-page PDF. Each entry with dates, timestamps, and short notes. I wasn't cruel. Just factual. Then I sent it. An anonymous email. To HR. To compliance. To legal. All internal. Subject, risk pattern, negligence and dependency issues. I didn't expect anything fast. But within 3 days, Tessa was removed from a major client project. A week later, Ray started running her decks himself. People noticed. She stopped smiling in meetings. By the end of the 3rd week, she was on leave. And then, she was just gone. No goodbye email. No announcement. Her name vanished from Teams. Her desk sat empty for a week, then someone boxed her things. I never said a word. Nobody asked. Nobody needed to. I just kept doing my work. Quiet. Steady. And I watched the star fall. I thought that would be it. I thought once she was gone, everything would go back to normal. I thought I'd feel better. Safer. Maybe even proud, in a small, quiet way. But the thing about revenge is, it doesn't always wrap up clean. 2 weeks after Tessa disappeared, I noticed something weird. Ray started acting off. He stopped replying to my emails as quickly. He'd walk past me in the office without saying hello, even when I greeted him. In meetings, he'd cut me off or dismiss my points. I chalked it up to stress. Maybe he was just pissed about losing one of his stars. But then I heard from Nina. She stopped by my desk one morning, pretending to talk about a client, and lowered her voice. "Hey, just so you know," she said, "Ray thinks you had something to do with Tessa being fired." I just blinked at her. I wanted to say, "So what if I did," but I played dumb. "What makes you say that?" Nina shrugged. "He's been salty." Said something in the break room like, "Some people know how to survive by dragging others down." It wasn't hard to read between the lines. Ray and Tessa were close. I used to think it was just mentor-mentee stuff, but now I wasn't so sure. Maybe there was more. Maybe that's why he fought so hard to keep her in the spotlight. And maybe, he knew exactly how much I'd been covering for her, and chose to ignore it. Now, with her gone, I was the problem. A week later, I got pulled into HR. They said it was a routine performance review, even though mine wasn't scheduled for another 3 months. They brought up team cohesion, and asked questions like, "Do you feel supported by your manager? Have there been any interpersonal challenges you'd like to discuss? How would you describe your communication style?" I kept my answers short. Professional. Careful. But I knew what this was. Ray was laying the groundwork. And he didn't stop there. He started assigning me garbage work. Low-priority tasks. Tedious audits that used to go to interns. He'd leave me out of meetings I'd always been in. I noticed my name left off calendar invites. People stopped asking me for input. It was like I'd gone invisible. And then came the kicker, I wasn't chosen for the new project lead opening. Even though I'd built the reporting system they were using for it. I asked Ray about it. He barely looked at me. He said, "We're looking for someone who can bring energy and creativity to the table. You're more process-oriented." I stared at him. That deck Tessa had used to get promoted? I made it. The quarterly analytics package? Mine. The client retention strategy? Mine again. But I smiled and said, understood. Because I wasn't done. Ray thought he could freeze me out. He thought I'd break. He didn't know I'd kept copies. Of everything. Not just Tessa's stuff. Ray's too. His edits. His approvals. The email where he said, let her take credit, it's good for morale. The message to Tessa that said, don't worry, my name, we'll patch it like always. The worst one? An email chain where Tessa accidentally forwarded a client's confidential info to the wrong vendor. And Ray told her not to report it to compliance. He told her to delete and pretend it didn't happen. That was a serious breach. It had been buried, but now I had it. I reopened that folder. Renamed it, Liabilities, escalated, and I started building a new report. By the time I finished the second file, I was calmer than I'd been in weeks. The folder was neat. Labeled. With dated entries. Direct quotes. Forwarded chains. Even metadata where I could show who edited what and when. I wasn't just blowing the whistle, I was building a case. I called the new file, Manager Misconduct, Timeline and Impact. Before I sent anything, I spoke with a friend. Not someone at the company. Someone I used to work with in Raleigh, Sam. He'd gone into compliance consulting after he left our old firm. I didn't give him names. Just said, if a mid-level manager knowingly told an employee not to report a client data breach, and another employee had proof, what happens? He didn't even pause. That's a regulatory issue. If it got out, the company could be fined. Depending on the industry, the manager could be fired. Might even lose their license, depending. I already knew the answer. But hearing it out loud made it feel real. So I sent it. Not just to HR this time. I sent it to the Chief Risk Officer. I sent it to our legal counsel. And I sent a hard copy to our ethics hotline, certified mail, with tracking. Still anonymous. And then I waited. For 3 days, nothing happened. Then the Chief Risk Officer herself showed up on our floor. Not her usual style. She never came up unless something big was going on. She was quiet. Calm. But she went into a closed-door meeting with Ray, the director of HR, and 2 people I didn't recognize, probably from legal. That meeting lasted almost 2 hours. By the time they came out, Ray looked like someone had punched him in the stomach. He didn't come back the next day. By Friday, his name was gone from the company directory. He didn't even get to send a farewell email. The next week, the compliance team did a surprise audit of client records. I saw Nina walking around with a clipboard, checking old files. 2 other managers were called in for interviews. People started whispering again. This time, it wasn't about me. It was about a cover-up. And here's where it gets strange. I thought I'd feel good again. Like I did when Tessa got fired. But it wasn't the same. Because with Ray gone, there was a hole. People didn't know what to do. Teams got shuffled. Projects paused. Our office got quiet. Nervous quiet. Even the chatty interns were keeping their heads down. And then someone started asking around. Who reported it? Who had that much info? Who even knew about that email chain? It wasn't hard to connect the dots. A few of us had access to that client file. Even fewer would have known how to trace it to Ray. Nina stopped by my desk again one afternoon and gave me a weird look. Not cold, just cautious. Just a heads up, she said. Some folks think it was you. I didn't deny it this time. I just looked at her and said, if it was, they should be thanking me. She didn't respond. Just nodded and walked away. The next week, things got even messier. Because Tessa came back. Not to the company, but to LinkedIn. She posted some long dramatic message about being pushed out by jealous colleagues and how women who rise too fast often pay the price. She didn't name me. But she didn't have to. Half our office saw it. Someone even printed it and taped it inside a bathroom stall. Like it was a joke. But it wasn't funny to me. Because the people who'd sided with her? The ones who still whispered her name like she was some kind of victim? They started looking at me like I was the villain. Like I'd taken her down to climb higher. I hadn't. I just exposed the truth. But the thing about the truth? It doesn't always set you free. Sometimes, it paints a target on your back. Things at work didn't go back to normal. Yes, Ray was gone. Tessa was out. But what was left behind was ugly. People didn't trust each other anymore. Everyone watched their backs. Conversations got shorter. Smiles faded. I used to enjoy the quiet, now it felt cold. And the worst part? I was alone. People avoided my desk. Stopped inviting me to lunch. I wasn't punished officially, but I knew I'd never be seen the same way again. Then came the real blow. A few months later, during my next performance review, I got the news. "We're going in a different direction with the team structure," said my new manager, a guy named Clay who barely knew my name. "We appreciate your contributions, but your role is being phased out." I sat there, blinking. "I'm being let go?" "Not let go," he said. "We're offering a transition package. You'll have 30 days. You'll get support finding something else, if you want it." I wanted to scream. I wanted to flip the table. But I didn't. I nodded. I stood up. I left the room. And for the first time in years, I cried in the parking lot. The truth? I'd spent so much time proving how wrong they were, how broken the system was, that I didn't see what it was doing to me. I had stopped being a person and turned into a weapon. Yes, Tessa deserved what she got. Ray did too. They made their choices. They used people. They lied. They gambled and lost. But I made choices too. I didn't speak up sooner. I didn't protect myself. I let myself be the cleanup crew, and when I finally stood up, I burned the house down with them inside. And I was still standing in the ashes. I used my 30 days to clean up my resume. Quietly. I didn't say goodbye to most people. Didn't post some dramatic exit online. Just packed my things and walked out one last time. A year later, I'm somewhere new. Smaller company. Less chaos. Fewer politics. I don't go out of my way for anyone anymore. I do my job. I keep my distance. Sometimes I still hear her voice in my head. She thinks we're a team, and I remember how fast loyalty can turn into a weapon. If I've learned anything, it's this: when someone shows you who they are, believe them. Don't clean up their mess. Don't let charm blind you. And never, ever laugh along with people who treat you like a joke. Because one day, the quiet one will stop laughing and start watching. And when she moves for good.